I'm telling you, it stays cold for like 3 days. I mean, I think this water is actually 4 days old. Here, have a drink.
What are you doing?
Oh, you're gonna love, come on, you're missing the best part.
Okay, now I'm getting worried. Oh my goodness, you're a freak!
Well, I guess that answers the question. So I'm going to choose this one, and I'm going to live in the basement and not upstairs for a while, I'd say. So today, let's look at this life-size Gal Gadot Wonder Woman bust. And yes, you say the T at the end of her name. She even tells you to. Don't you, honey? As the Extreme channel is pushing towards 50,000 subscribers, these are just a few of the statues we're giving away on the journey there. If you want to know how to win one, stay tuned for later in the video. Hey, thanks for tuning into the Extreme channel. Today we're looking at the long-awaited, life-size Wonder Woman bust by Queen Studios. And if you haven't caught on, this is from the DCU, or the DC Universe. That is the cinematic universe of DC Comics. So here we have Wonder Woman, portrayed by Gal Gadot. And if you're like me, you can only picture the Fast and Furious when you look at Gal Gadot. However, I think she does a fantastic job as Wonder Woman. Now, I actually didn't want to buy this piece, believe it or not. Originally, Queen Studios revealed this, and I was so excited for a life-size bust, because I have the Batfleck by Queen Studios right here you can check out. I also have a number of other custom DC busts that I've done reviews on that are upstairs in the display. Now, if you want to see what those look like, make sure to check out the Extreme channel Instagram, Facebook page, and TikTok. So I really wanted this piece, and then Infinity Studios revealed this piece right here, which in my opinion looked way better. And I went ahead and bought the Infinity Studios piece. But then Queen Studios, who really listens to their fans, went back and revised a lot of the things we didn't like in this particular piece right here. So then I really wanted this one. And you only need one life-size Wonder Woman bust, or do you? Reminds me of Office Space.
I tell you what I'd do, man. 2 chicks at the same time, man.
So now I have both of them coming in, and ironically, even though I ordered this one second, it came in first. Infinity Studios will hopefully come later this year, and of course we will do a comparison video on the two. We call those an Extrumble or an Extreme Rumble. So make sure you not only like this video, but you've subscribed to the channel and you've hit that bell notification so you don't miss that. Now, as I said, Queen Studios is fairly a new player to the game. They've only been around about 2 years, and they're kind of dabbling in everything. I want to say this is the 7th or 8th piece I've actually bought from them, and I probably have about 10 more on order. And tomorrow, if you're watching this on the day I launched it, is Wonderfest 2021, where I'm guessing I'll probably add anywhere from 5 to 10 new pieces to my pre-order list. But today we're going to dive in, and we're going to see if Queen Studios really fixed some of those issues. Also, we're going to talk about, does she really look like Gal Gadot? Because honestly, on a lot of photos and even some videos, I'm seeing it that she doesn't quite look like her. However, I thought the exact same thing about this Loki bust by Queen Studios that I have. But I can tell you, in real life, this looks like Tom Hiddleston 100%. Speaking of that, after I get done editing tonight, I'm going to watch the first episode of Loki on Disney+. So it's a big cinematic comic book day here on the Extreme channel. Now, whoa, she doesn't even want to look at me. But let's start off talking about the concept of this piece. Now, normally with the bust, it's kind of boring, but not on this bust for multiple reasons, which we're going to talk about. So on the base, you have a very thematic, conceptual base. You have a lot of ties here that may be ties to the Amazons, or the fact that she's kind of a goddess or half goddess. Some ties to her costume coming up from the bottom with the Wonder Woman logo base on the front. And all this ornate design on the inside. I don't know what specifically it ties to, but I like it. Then you have this flat plate on the top, almost like a book, that she's sitting on top of. Now, this is actually my first bust, believe it or not, that has full-size arms. So she's in her DCU uniform, which I quite like. I like the adaptation of it to the movies. In her classic, powerful pose, where she is hitting her gauntlets together to release her power. Now, her gauntlets here don't light up. I think that would have been over the top if they were going to do that. As you move up to her portrait with concept, let's talk about a few things. Number one is the expression that they chose. I like it. It doesn't look too soft, but it's not too fierce either. And when she's doing that action, it's usually a pretty fierce action. And I think if they did that with like a lip curl or something of that nature, it would have been really, really awkward. So I think they chose a good in-between aspect. The second part you want to talk about is likeness. Now what's really tough for me is the face, I believe, is pretty damn close. I'm going to have to look at some other pictures, but I think what throws it off is what the hair looks like when it comes out of the box. The hair plays a huge role in likeness with life-size busts. We've seen that on Queen Studios' Joker bust, this one right here that I actually own, which is from Queen Studios, but we're not supposed to talk about it because they didn't have a license for it. Shh, don't tell anybody. Now clearly I'm not good at styling hair, so I'm going to have Mrs. X step in here and see if she can do anything with it. But I might leave it as is. I might give it time because I don't think she had as many curls. And one big thing with her throughout the movies is when she was actually like in this pose, she was in the middle of fighting, so her hair was everywhere. It was kind of messed up. And you don't really want that either. So I don't like it really full to the front here like that, for sure. So I think the more back, the better. And I think that's when you see more of her likeness. Now another thing they've added, which I think is fantastic, they've not only added her shield here, but there is a stand, and a stand that can incorporate into the bust stand. That is fantastic. It's more of a design thing we're going to talk about, but I think it adds a lot to this piece. So concept, because the likeness isn't perfect, but I love everything else about it, I think it's a 4 out of 5. Now if I get the hair right, I think this could be a 5 out of 5 on concept. But let's talk about the design because a few of those things play into it. I think the hair does, the shield does. But first and foremost, let's look at the unboxing and assembly. Absolutely giant and huge box, bigger than most of the other busts. Here it was, straps, foam, and of course the certificate of authenticity, which they have with everyone. And they actually had kind of a frame that you could put it in, which I thought was pretty cool, even though I put it back in the box. Here's the first layer, and then we have the second layer. Alright, before I forget, let's do the measurements. So first I'll do the shield. So the diameter on the shield is about 20 inches. The base will add an additional 4 inches to that height. And the base height is right at 11 inches wide, approximately 7 inches deep. Now the bust itself, the base diameter is about 14 inches. And she is, I'm hoping under 29, yeah, she's about 28 inches or so on the height. I know Queen Studios has the exact measurements on their website. Now I did have a little scuff right here. You can check it out. Easy fix. So I bought this from Spec Fiction, who I get a ton of my Queen Studios stuff from. And but that's unacceptable, so I think I'm going to demand all my money back. I'm just fucking with you, Todd. We're good. Now something that's really cool about the shield actually, let's see if you can see it right here. It actually has straps, so you can actually hold it in battle, like this picture right here. So I love the fact that the shield can be displayed totally separate. You could hang it on the wall. In fact, it came with a bunch of hardware that I don't know what this is for. So someone can put that in the comments. Hopefully she's not going to fall over on me. I'm assuming it's maybe to mount the shield, but honestly, I don't know. And of course it came with the makeup brush. Does feel nice. Now, another thing is, you notice I put her arms in because they're separate pieces. They do make indentations into the silicone. So, and I have to speculate, they only did it for QC, so only for a second, and there were already indentations. So that's something to keep in mind with silicone. It's a little bit more delicate, supposed to last for a long time. And I know Queen Studios actually, last night, the night before I recorded this on the BSC on Batman Statue Collector, they talked about a bunch of stuff they're doing with silicone about the longevity and things of that nature. So it's very cool that they're really investing into the product that they're using. And if you've never felt a silicone statue before, it's kind of rubbery and almost a little bit moist. Ew. Even on her lips. I can't tell you how I know that. Just trust me. One thing I totally forgot, the torso of Wonder Woman is incredibly heavy. So the box itself was 97 pounds. Extremely heavy. But overall design, I give them a lot of props. I think it's ingenious about the shield. It's a cool different base. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of statues with arms, but this is what I'd want on her and it doesn't block her face. So I think the design's a 5 out of 5 on this piece. Now really quick, one thing you're going to notice is like scale. This looks really big. This is a good 1.5 feet, if not more, in front of me. So your depth perception is off, but she is scaled accurately. But let's dive into the close-ups of the paint and sculpt on video. And as usual, it's phenomenal, but let's take a look. Now I wanted to look at the shield first, starting with the base. Base, I'm not a huge fan of. There's still a lot of dust from the factory on here. You can see I'm going to get off before I go into the display, but it's a little too much gold on it. Now granted, I'm going to display it behind her, although it could be decent next to her. In fact, I might do it next to her for a while until my next DC piece comes in, because I do have the space. But not a huge fan of this part right here, and I think this dust on it is really messing it up. However, the shield I absolutely love. I love the design on it, I love the streaks, I love the different colors of gold, the black, the spotted white on it. I think it looks great. Now I think it looks great on both sides. This is a little plasticky looking right here, although it doesn't feel plasticky. The straps are real leather, which is fantastic. So it's a pretty cool proximity piece to it. And as we're going to talk about, I think this really adds to the value. Now to start on the base down here, a few of the same comments on the gold that we talked about over here on this guy. And same with the black on top. Not the best paint job, but I think they tried to give it kind of a worn, modern aspect to it. They have some, almost like some patina highlights in the copper of this black. With these ornate designs back here. I like that. Almost tells like a story. I'm not sure what story. Then almost this like crown or window on the top here with some gold trim around the side. And then these pieces you saw me insert are plastic, but they don't look it. I don't mind a logo like this because it doesn't actually say the name of the character, but it looks good. Contrast of the golds. Now on her outfit, first thing I want to look at is these leather straps. They look a little cheap, which it surprises me for Queen Studios, and they may not be. And I think one thing that is interesting is I don't like how it's kind of worn down here and then it goes brand spanking new up here. But there's a cool clasp up here, which I like. Now her uniform down here looks fantastic. It's this armor plated uniform with different colors of red and orange and then gold trim on the side. And I think it matches well with like her armlet right here with the symbol. Look at the detail on that. I think that's fantastically done, and we'll look at the skin in a second. Her chest isn't over emphasized, which I appreciate. But they just did a really nice job. Now her skin, first I want to focus on the color, I think looks fantastic. And if you look at it close, almost like there's pores in there, human pores. So they did a really nice job. It doesn't look like rubber, it truly looks like skin. The hands are a little strange for me because they're small. I have large hands. But they look like real hands. And again, these straps right here don't look cheap. So I wish they would have used that more of a material right there. Her gauntlets look fantastic. A little bit of scarring on them. You can see the black and the scratches on the silver. And then the gold on the top and bottoms. Really nicely done. There's her headband. I think this is fantastically done as well. I like the black shading that's added to it, so it's not too bright and shiny, because you got to remember she is someone who's constantly in battle. The hair, I think, you know, it's a little darker in the movies, I believe, and I could be wrong, but, you know, throughout the film, there's so many different lighting scenes, especially like she's even fighting at night or, you know, on the warfield. But look at the hair. You can see that it's individually rooted in, which is amazing. Her ear back there, great likeness. I mean, look at the detail. And of course, let's get to the portrait, which is what you've waited for. So some fantastic things in here. The eyes, the eyelashes, the eyebrows look real. Really impressive. You know, one nice thing is she's not looking in a weird direction. I think this is the direction she'd be looking in. See, as you pull back the hair, I think there's more of that likeness to Gal. So I think it's definitely the hair that's putting it off. And since it is real hair and real silicone, you do get kind of the shedding effect. But even the detail in her lips, a few of the cracks, and I think right there is a good look at the likeness. So the other thing with these silicone busts is the angle greatly affects the likeness as well, and the lighting. And actually, one thing too, I love people who, if you're not a member of the Extreme Channel page, so the Extreme Channel webpage, go ahead and check that out. I send out a newsletter every Friday, and today's newsletter that went out is about the judgment of pictures. And just kind of short, I hate those people. But so much detail, so well done. Not sure on the likeness. It's almost there for sure. But that kind of sums up everything. All right, so the Paint app. Like I said, there's a few areas where I question it a little bit. It's not as good as some other Queen Studio pieces I've seen, but it's still really good. And you got to remember, they actually paint the silicone, so that's all paint. The flesh color, the lips, but it's a solid 4 out of 5, almost a 5 out of 5 for me. Sculpt is a little bit more difficult. Everything from the neck down, honestly, including the shield, is probably a 5 out of 5. However, that likeness, I think that it's there. I think it's the hair that's throwing it off. But I'm going to go ahead and give this a 4 out of 5. And again, with the disclaimer, it could possibly be a 5 out of 5 if I got the hair right, because it really affects the viewpoint of this. And I don't know if you can tell on camera or not. But let's talk about value of this piece. This was an expensive ass piece. $3,000, and they made 500 of them. I think it was even $3,200. And then you had to pay for shipping. And honestly, I don't even remember what shipping was. Usually you can get express or economy. So it's a really expensive piece, and it's simply because they had to use so much silicone. Now, I've seen a lot of polystone busts. Like I know their new dark side they're coming out with that I will definitely order is polystone. That can be almost as good as silicone. Or Queen Studios is actually even proving it with the initial teases of their 1/3 scale Catwoman. Now, I'm not saying polystone would have looked better on this particular piece, but I'm saying I understand the high cost. There's even other things like the hair we talked about, how it's rooted in. And let's not forget there's another prop on the back that's probably worth $300 to $500 minimum. And most of these silicone busts seem to increase in value. However, you can still get a good deal. Like if you missed the Extreme Channel auction, Steve, bless his heart, sold his brand new Loki bust for $2,200. So there are still good deals you can get on these sold out pieces. But for the most part, I think they hold their value. And now while she has the competitor of the Infinity Studios, I don't know if she will. So we're going to start by giving her a 3 out of 5. I think I could get my money back. I don't know if I could get any more than that. All right, so finally, does she have the X factor? Does that mean is she making an X with their arms? No. Does it mean do we add up the other scores? No. Is this awesome? Will people be drawn to this as, wow? Well, you already saw that I am. Mrs. X, not so much. But I think she does have the X factor overall. She's a phenomenal piece. Queen Studios knocked it out of the park. Very happy to have her in my collection. Even though the hair is really bothering me, I think they did nail the likeness, but the hair messes it up a little bit. So stay tuned to the channel for updates on that. We will be giving all of these statues away, plus additional ones at every 5,000 subscriber milestone. To win one of these statues, all you have to do is make sure you've liked this video, you've subscribed to the channel, you've hit that bell notification, and then just drop a comment below. Every 5,000 subscriber milestone, we are going to do a random drawing and pick a random comment and give one of these statues away, plus some additional ones I'm not showing right now. The more videos you comment on, the higher your chances are to win. But again, guys, make sure you tune in so when we do the comparison between this and the Infinity Studios, whenever that gets out, I think they did a great job. Props to Queen Studios. Can't wait to see more tomorrow. Appreciate you guys watching. Drop me a like on the way out. It really helps, and a comment as well. Thanks so much. Take care.